In the last few classes, we had gone through 3 verses or shlokas of Laghu Vakya Vritti. The teacher over there indicated to us or pointed out to us our various equipments, the gross equipment, the subtle equipment, and the causal equipment, of which we are all constituted of. And then we know that these equipment are inert, insentient, they belong to the realm of matter, and therefore they don't have life of their own. But we have been seeing, our experience is that our equipment are very dynamically functioning. So there must be some factor just behind these 3 equipment which is lending to these equipment life, making them alive. And then they are functioning in the world outside. It's just like electricity behind the electrical equipment. What is that factor? The teacher told us. He said it is Shuddha Bodha. It is of the nature of knowledge, pure consciousness. It is the awareness, that presence in us, which is a Sakshi, witness. For a witness, if we want somebody to come as a witness, we know that witness should have all the knowledge. Therefore, herein there is a witness in us which knows everything, external and internal. Therefore, it must be the knowing principle in all of us. That is what we are all supposed to be. We are that, the capital I in us. Shuddha Bodha is what is the term that is indicated for it. But on the other hand, what has happened? So instead of we experiencing ourselves as we are, somewhere in between they're supposed to have, a mirror seems to have come in front of us. It's just a way of saying. What is the mirror? The moment we stand, we are one without a second. But the moment we go in front of a mirror, automatically there are 2. We, the real, and the reflected image. And our reflected image also is exactly like us. No change at all. It looks like us. But then there is a difference between the real I and the apparent I, the reflected I. What is the difference between the 2? The mirror has got an inherent property or a quality within itself to reverse the image, or whatever is there in front of it, it reverses and presents it in front of us. That's called lateral inversion. So we see in the mirror, of course we see ourselves, but we see exactly the reverse of ourselves. So the left side looks like the right side and the right side looks like the left side. So therefore, though everything of the image is just like us, it resembles us, still there is a difference between the real I who is standing in front of the mirror and the reflected image. And also we know that the reflected image is not permanent. We are permanent. As long as the mirror is there in front of us, the image is there, reflected image is there. The moment we move away from the mirror or the mirror moves away from us, we know the reflected image disappears. But just because the reflected image has disappeared, it doesn't mean we are non-existent. We are existent, irrespective of whether the mirror is there or not. So therefore our masters say, going back to that example, we who were standing in front of the mirror is real. Why? We are always there. Whether we are seeing our reflection in the mirror or not, but we are there. So therefore it is real. Satvastu it is. I am there. I am there as a real identity over there. But what we see in the mirror is not real, in the sense it comes and goes. How does it come and go? When there is a reflecting medium, the image, reflected image comes there, is seen over there. When the reflecting medium is removed, the reflected image also goes away. It becomes non-existent. But we are not non-existent. Therefore, the teacher says that is unreal. So what is in Vedantic terminology, what does real and unreal mean? What does Sattvastu and Asattvastu mean? It means the real or the Sattvastu, the truth means it never ever goes into non-existence. It was, is and shall continue to be. That is the definition of truth. That is the definition of Sattvastu. That is the definition of what real means. The opposite of that, Asatvastu, unreal, mithya. Mithya means false. That which does not exist always. That's what it means. Now it seems to be there. The reflected image is there. In fact, we see it as long as the mirror is there. So before we went in front of the mirror, the reflected image was not there. When the mirror was there, we saw the reflected image. And when we remove the mirror or move away from it, the reflected image becomes non-existent. Therefore, the reflected image, our own reflected image is called as unreal. It is called as apparent. It is called as mithya. So coming back to us, the teacher says, we are supposed to be the capital I, the pure consciousness, the Shuddha Bodha. That is what the Brahman of the Upanishads. But what has happened? A reflecting medium has come in front of us. Whether we like it or not, it just happened. And what is that? It is our buddhi. The term used over here is buddhi, mind, intellect. Mind and intellect actually are one inner equipment in us. When their functions are different, they are designated as the mind and the intellect. But we really can't separate them out totally. So we will say the mind, because the mind is the reflecting medium. So the moment the capital I, which we are all supposed to be, the pure consciousness, sees a reflecting medium in front of it, the mind, automatically the reflection of that consciousness happens and it appears. But like we said, there will be lateral inversion. So all the properties and characteristics and the qualities of this pure consciousness are not there in the reflected consciousness. Reflected consciousness is pure consciousness reflected in the medium of the mind. So properties are opposite. We went through it very, very elaborately last time. So this reflected consciousness takes on to itself, identifies itself with the equipment, takes on to itself the role of karta, the doer, and then enters into the field of activity and performs activities, karma. What sort of karma will come out of each individual will depend on the karana sharira, the samskaras that we have brought with us, which we call as prarabdha. The karanamaya sharira, all the latent impressions are all embedded in it. Our raga, our dvesha, our likes, our dislikes, which are going to become desires later on. So all of them are there. According to it, we will be engaging ourselves in the field of activity. So the moment we perform activity, actions, karma phala is there immediately. So the one who plays the role of a doer, the jivatma, the small I, will automatically be associated with the karma phala. Karma he did, therefore karma phala will come to him. Depending on the karma phala also will be not good, we can call it as papa, we can call it as punya, merit, demerit, etc. It all depends on the karma that we have done. So because we arrogated to ourselves or identified ourselves as the doer of the activity, immediately we become the enjoyer of the activity also. Therefore we have to be there to enjoy whatever karma phala comes to us. Now that karma phala may come to us in this janma, in this life itself, or we may have done a karma whose karma phala will come to us after 200 years, our calculation of time. So therefore again we have to come back. Why do we come back? We come back to enjoy the karma phala of the karma done long back. So therefore there is a going and a coming, a going and a coming. For whom is this going and coming? It is for the reflected consciousness. Because that is what became the karta, and that is what became the bhokta. The teacher is trying, therefore, for the reflected consciousness, the Jivatma, samsara exists. Samsara means coming and going, transmigration with this. So we go from this world to some other world, enjoy there or get punished there, whatever it is, again we have to come back. Why? To enjoy, either enjoy or its opposite. If we have done something wrong, we will be punished for it also. Again we have to, the karma phala we have to enjoy. To enjoy that or to experience that, that's a better word. To experience that, we have to come back again to this mortal plane of existence. That is what is called as samsara. Therefore, for whom is this samsara? Samsara is not for the pure consciousness. Samsara is for the reflected consciousness. Not the Shuddha Bodha, but for Bodha Bhasa. Abhasa means reflection. It's an appearance which has come over there. So the samsara, therefore this coming and going, is not for the pure consciousness, the capital I, but it is for the small I. It is for the Bodha Bhasa. Why? Because that is the one which became the doer. That is the one, therefore, which became the enjoyer. Not the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness has got nothing to do with being a doer or with being an enjoyer. Far, far removed from its reflection. Now the problem is, therefore, now the teacher is telling us, there are two factors in front of us. There is a real me and there is a reflected me over there. There is pure consciousness, which we are all supposed to be, which we are. And there is the reflected consciousness, the Jivatma, the Bodha Bhasa, which is also there. As long as we know that there are two, and as long as we know who the real me is, then there won't be any problem. But what we have done is, we have identified ourselves, instead of identifying ourselves with the capital I, with Shuddha Bodha, which we are supposed to be, somehow or the other, we have got identified with the reflected consciousness, with Bodha Bhasa. Why did we get identified with that? Why did we associate ourselves with that? Because of the ignorance in us. Ajnanamayam, Karana Shariram. So we are the pure consciousness. But for us now, right now for us, it doesn't seem to be available for us at all. We feel, I am not that. How can I be the eternal? How can I be the changeless? How can I be a akarta and a bhokta, a non-doer, and therefore a non-enjoyer? Therefore, how can there be samsara for us? It's not there. But then a question for us. It doesn't seem to align for us as we are at this level of our evolution. So what we are, we fail to recognize, we fail to experience. But what we are not, that apparent reflected consciousness called Jivatma, to that we have completely identified ourselves with. And for us, that has become the real me. So small I has become the capital I for us. And what about capital I? Capital I doesn't seem to exist for us at all. At one, they very beautifully say, two things cannot occupy the same place at the same time. So either it has to be capital I, we are the capital I, or we are the small I. We can't be both. We can't be capital I and small I. So now the capital I aspect of us ceases to exist for us. And on the other hand, the small I, the reflected consciousness, has become a reality for us. That which goes and comes, it's become a reality for us. So we are a Jivatma, we are a doer, we are an enjoyer at this point of time. The teacher is trying to tell us now, therefore what should we do? Therefore all problems for us. So if we want to get away from it all, the teacher says we have to sit down and do our spiritual sadhana. And what is the sadhana that we have to do? It's not something that we have to do outside of us, not external. It is internal. And therefore he says, sit down and then try to differentiate the two. Somehow it seems to be mixed up. Not even mixed up, we only see small I. Capital I doesn't seem to be a possibility or a reality for us at all. But the teacher is telling us it is there. We have Shraddha, we have implicit faith in the teacher's words. Why? He has realized. And then he is coming back from that higher state and he is telling us. Therefore, whatever the teacher is telling us is absolutely true. So therefore, and he is telling us, there is a pure consciousness which you are, and now you have become the reflected consciousness which you really are not. It seemingly is there. Distinguish between the two or differentiate between the two. We have to use our viveka over here, the discriminative faculty in us. It's not easy. Why is it not easy? Because since so many births, it's not this birth or the previous one. Through so many births, we have disengaged ourselves for whatever reason from the capital I, and we are completely hooked onto and identified with the small I. So that mindset, we use the word mindset, and therefore it's so difficult for us to come out of it. This is our comfort zone now. Though our masters say that is the real comfort zone. Once you have reached that state, then you will know what real comfort is, what real fulfillment is, what real success is, what real contentment is, what is peace, what is bliss. We will come to experience all that, but now for us right now this has become a reality. So it's very difficult for us to distinguish between the two. Last time I did mention, it's like milk and water mixed up. So now we have to separate them out. We have to differentiate, discriminate and separate out the real from the unreal. If we can do that, then maybe we can take once two are available for us, now two are not available for us. The unreal reflected consciousness alone is available for us. I am the Jivatma. Beyond that, I know nothing else. You are Brahman. Right now, it is not even a possibility for us. Even an intellectual appreciation is not a possibility for many of us. Therefore, we start from with Shravana, then Manana, then Nididhyasana. We have to fully engage ourselves in sadhana. It's difficult. The teacher is telling us over it. Spiritual sadhana is like walking on the razor's edge. Why? At some point of time, the entire Jivatma has to die. It has to become non-existent for the absolute existence, the capital I, to assert itself in us. So we feel the I am, the aspect of my I-ness, my mindness will all go away. That's the ego. So the death of the ego is our death for us now. Masters say no, death of the ego never existed. It's a reflection. Why are you worried about the reflection? When the mirror is not there, your image is not there, then you don't cry for that image. It's a shadow. So the death of the ego, it's only with the death of the ego that we will realize what that capital I is. And therefore the teacher told us to, the third shloka which we had already gone through, he said to discriminate, to differentiate. And the word used over there was ati yatnataha. Yatna means to put in effort. How much effort should we put in? Ati. Extraordinary effort, total all-out effort, because it's very difficult for us. So it has to be 100%. We have to put in our effort when we walk the spiritual path if we want to realize who we truly are. So therefore the teacher, therefore we know that there is a capital I and there is a small I. Now the teacher, and we know also now the teacher has told us capital I is the real, small I is the unreal. He has to now help us with some illustration, with some example, with something which we already know of. Therefore in the fourth shloka over here, the teacher takes up the three states which we go through every day, which we are all very familiar with. The waking state, the dream state and the deep sleep state. These are the only three states that are known to us as of now. Waking state, we are all now awake. And when we at night go off to sleep, before we fall off to deep sleep, where there is nothing absolutely that we experience. All our equipment have now become, for the time being, they are non-functional. There is a transition period between the two, between the waking state and the deep sleep state. That is called as the dream state. So, in the waking state, we are associated with the external world. In the dream state, we are associated with an internal world. Slowly, slowly only we can move away to a state where there is nothing. So therefore, slowly from waking state, we go into dream state, and we are doing our transaction in an inner world, just as we are now doing our transaction in the outer world. And then afterwards, we fold up the dream state also and enter into the deep sleep state, where there is nothing at all. We don't even know what is happening over there. At least when we come back to waking, we can talk about our dream. I dreamt this, I dreamt that. So we are aware, we are conscious of our dream. Last night, whatever we dreamt, we are conscious of. And we do report it. Sometimes we remember, sometimes we may not remember. But when we remember, we even share it with people. This is what I dreamt last time. But what was your experience when you were in deep sleep? None of us know. All that we express when we come back to the waking state is, I slept well. All of us will never say, I did not sleep well. I slept well in the deep sleep state. We are not talking about a disturbed sleep. We are not talking about the dream state. Some people, I kept on dreaming. It was very disturbed. I never had a good sleep. Means we have not yet gone to deep sleep state. But when we are in the deep sleep state, there is no experience of anything at all, because all our equipment have folded back and are in perfect state of rest. So therefore we know nothing in the deep sleep state. So when we come back from deep sleep state to our waking state, somebody asks us, what was your experience in the deep sleep state? Say, I do not know anything. There was nothing there, but I slept well. Somewhere a sense of happiness is there. A satisfaction is there that I slept well. I slept well, we say. I am happy, we say, over there. But then what was the experience? There was no experience at all. There was nothing over there. Nothing, that word in English, we can separate it out into no plus thing. No thing. It is a state of nothingness. Absolutely there was nothing. Outer world, external world, inner world, all our equipment, all of them sort of went into us, disappeared into us. Laya, we call it. A small mini deluge happening in us. It all just merges and just disappears into us. Morning, slowly they all unfold and they come back. That is what we say as waking state. So therefore the teacher is taking up this aspect, and he says in the 4th shloka, Jagara swapna yoreva bodha bhasa vidambana suptautu tallaye shuddha bodho jadyam prakashayet. So 3 states, waking, dream and deep sleep. The teacher is now trying to telling us, look at these 3 states of yours. So we are very familiar with them. Look at them and see who is functioning or what is functioning in these 3 states. In the waking state, in the dream state and the deep sleep state, what is it that is functioning? Is it the pure consciousness that is functioning? Reflected consciousness that is functioning? Because he talked about real and unreal. Real always exists, come what may. It never ever ceases to exist. It never goes into non-existence. It was, is and shall ever be. Is pure consciousness, the capital I. So he says, check up and see. And what about the reflected consciousness, the Jivatma, the Karta and the Bhokta? Check up whether they are there in all the 3 states that you are very familiar with. Your states, the teacher is saying. See whether reflected consciousness is available in all these 3 states. If the reflected consciousness is available in all the 3 states, then we can say, yes, it is there. So he says, check it up. And therefore he says over here, Jagara Swapna Yoreva. In both of them, in Jagarat means waking state, Swapna means dream state. Sorry, in the waking state and in the dream state, which we go through every day, he says, Bodha Bhasa Vidambana. This reflected consciousness. Bodha means consciousness. Abhasa means reflection. So Bodha Bhasa means reflected consciousness. The Karta, the doeriness, the Jivatma-iness. That which we always call as I, that I, small I over there. He says Vidambana. Vidambana means it's just roaming around, moving around, transacting, very, very predominant. Vyavahara, transaction. So who is transacting in our waking state and in our dream state? Is it the capital I or is it the small I? The teacher says check up. And he says, in the waking state and in the dream state, in all of us, it's not the pure consciousness that is doing vyavahar. The pure consciousness in us has got nothing to do with the equipment and the expressions of the equipment. It is the reflected consciousness that has got to do with the waking state and the dream state. And what is it doing? It's transacting. The moment we get up in the morning, we start our transactions. We are moving around. Even if it is not physically, at the mental level, we have started moving around. Sitting down over there, we have just woken up, or even though lying down. Physical activity has started already. We start moving our limbs, we start moving our organs. And then of course at the mind level, and then mind intellect functioning through the physical body. Where is my coffee, early morning coffee or tea? Where is the newspaper, etc, etc, etc. Transaction has started. Then we immediately get up and enter into the world outside. So slowly we extend our vyavahar, starting from asking for, or first we have to become conscious of I want my tea or I want coffee. It starts from there. The newspaper has not yet come to the side table. It starts from there. So before we become aware of it, that thought must have got created in us. Once the thought gets created in us, the newspaper thought or the coffee thought or the tea thought, then we become conscious of the thought. Then we say, where is the newspaper or where is the cup of tea? Why has it not yet come? You know, I get up at this time. See, from there it starts, our world. And slowly, everything happens very quickly and we are not even aware of it. And it's happening every day. It's become routine for us. We never ever sit down and inquire into it or investigate into it. So immediately it's like, we are spanning out. So starting from us, it's like when we drop a stone into water, the moment where the stone touches the water, a ripple is formed. But slowly it starts moving towards the outer edges of the vessel. The circle is formed over there, a ripple in the form of a circle. Slowly it moves out. So it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Similarly also, with the moment we get up in the morning, in our waking state, we start all our transactions and our vyavahara, and it starts to slowly increase, expand. And then we get into our field of activity and we do whatever we want to do, karta. And then immediately we become a bhokta also, because karma is done, karma phala will come to us and we have to experience it. Who is doing all these things? The teacher is telling us, is it the capital I? We immediately want to know. All right, sir, if it is in the waking state and in the dream state, who is the one who is functioning? Is it the pure consciousness functioning, or is it the reflected consciousness that is functioning? The teacher says, Bodha Bhasa Vidambana. It is not the pure consciousness that is functioning or doing vyavahara. It is the reflected consciousness that is doing its vyavahara, is what he says over here. And so now we know two states have been already explained to us. The Jagara, the waking state, Jagrata Avastha and the Swapna Avastha, the waking state and the dream state. And now we know who is functioning in those two states. Who is functioning? The small I is functioning, the ego is functioning, the Jivatma is functioning, the Karta, the doer is functioning in both these states. So we know now. So in the waking state, small I is present. So it's real for us. In the dream state, small I is present over there. We are experiencing the small I. In the waking state also we experience the small I. So that is real for us. Now, what about the deep sleep? Is the small I there also? Then we can say small I is there in all the three states. Therefore, it's a changeless entity. We can say that. But the teacher says, Suptavuto Tallaye Shuddha Bodha. But he says over here, in the deep sleep state, he says, it is not the reflected consciousness that is functioning. Because the reflected consciousness, when we go off into deep sleep, has merged. It has disappeared. Why has it disappeared? We already saw, the teacher already told us, reflected consciousness comes into existence only when there is a reflecting medium in front of it. The reflecting medium called the mind was there in front of it. And the mind is available both in the waking state and in the dream state. Therefore, small I is present. Mind reflecting medium is there in the waking state and in the dream state. So therefore, the reflected consciousness also is available for its transaction. We have therefore a waking world of experiences, we have a dream world of experiences. But the moment we go off to deep sleep state, we have transcended or gone beyond our equipment. If we are identified with the equipment, we can't say we are in deep sleep. So we have moved far away from the physical body. It's absolutely resting. We say, I slept like a log of wood. We are not conscious what happens at the physical level when we are in deep sleep. We have moved away from the mind also. And we have moved away from the intellect also in our deep sleep. All the three of them disconnected. So therefore, anybody can, when we are in very deep sleep, anybody can even push us or move us from one place to another at some distance. We will not be aware, conscious of it. Anybody can, and our indriyas are not working. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin not working. Hands, legs not working. Mouth is not working. So we can't speak. We are not able to hear. When we are in deep sleep, people can glorify us, praise us, or abuse us, humiliate us. We will not even know. After we get up, we won't even know what they talked about us. Why? All the three equipment have gone off to rest. Or we can say, we have transcended and gone beyond these equipment, the body, the mind, the intellect, the gross body and the subtle body. So, which means the reflecting medium for the moment is not available for us. The mind is not available for us. It's gone off to rest, or we have transcended, we have bypassed it. So the moment the reflecting medium is not there in front of us, where will the reflected consciousness come into the picture? So small I is not present in deep sleep. That's what the teacher wants to tell us. It's very important. So small I was present in the waking state. Small I was present in the dream state. And it did its vyavahar. In the waking world, I am a waker, transacting in the waking world, and therefore I have my waking experiences. In the dream world, we become a dreamer, enter into the dream world, and have our own share of dream experiences, where variety is there. But when we go into deep sleep, we have moved away from all the equipment. They've gone into a state of laya. Laya means small little deluge. It's a mini deluge that we are going through every day. We have withdrawn ourselves from our equipment. The pure consciousness which was getting reflected in the mind, now the mind is no more over there. Either for a easy explanation, let's say the pure consciousness has moved away from the mind, or the mind has moved away from it. So when both of them are not aligned, or are not face to face with each other. Where is the reflecting medium? It's not there. When the reflecting medium is not there, how can the reflected consciousness be there? It's not there. So in the deep sleep state, small I is absent for us. So it is there in some states, it is not there in another state. It is there in waking state, it is there in dream state, it is not there in the deep sleep state. Which means I don't exist. Small I doesn't exist in the deep sleep state. It looks very clear. Then what was there? If I did not exist, then next morning I should not wake up, but I do wake up in the morning. That means something else is there beyond the small I, which was there, which made me wake up in the morning. What is it the teacher says over here? In deep sleep, suptaha is the word used over here. Supta avastha means deep sleep state. In that deep sleep state, when everything just merges away, or we can say we have transcended, or we have moved away from these equipment, the gross and the subtle equipment, the stula and the sukshma equipment, when we moved away over there, where are we? The teacher already told us 3 equipment are there for us. The gross or stula, sukshma or subtle, and karana or the causal. So when we have moved away from these 2, the stula sharira, gross body, and the sukshma or the subtle body, then where are we? We are in the causal body over there. That is also a padi or an equipment. Just behind it, what is there? Pure consciousness is there. We've already seen what is the nature of this karana sharira or the causal body. It is ajnanamaya, the teacher told us. Ajnanamaya means ignorance. We always liken ignorance to darkness. And ignorance here is spiritual ignorance. So the darkness over there, spiritual ignorance, it is dark over there. Therefore we have moved, we have shifted. It is like shifting, how we shift from one city to another city, or how we shift from one house to another house. We have shifted from one state to another state. State of consciousness, waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Each state has got nothing to do with the other. The waker cannot transact in the dream state. The dreamer cannot transact in the waking state. And both the waker and the dreamer cannot transact in the deep sleep state. So in the waking and in the waking and in the dream, if small I was present, the reflected consciousness, and it was doing its vyavahar, it got into various types of activities. In the deep sleep, the teacher say all of them just collapse and tumble into, they just merge inside. And then he says, but there is another sharira, the karana sharira. We can ask the teacher, sir, karana sharira is there, it is ajnanamayam, no doubt, but something must be illumining it. Small I is not there. Why? Small I is not there because the mind is not there. The reflecting medium is not there. What is it that is illumining this ignorance, this ajnana? What is it that is illumining this karana sharira? The teacher says pure consciousness, Shuddha Bodha, is available for us. Where is it available? It is available in the deep sleep state, is what the teacher is telling us. So the third body layer within us, gross, subtle, and the karana sharira, causal body, which is made up of or comprised of only ajnana, spiritual ignorance, dark. It is all dark and dark and dark over there. What is illumining it? The teacher says pure consciousness is illumining it. Because pure consciousness is illumining the karana sharira, we come back. We wake up again next morning. So it's not that everything was gone. So therefore, if in the waking state and in the dream state small I is functioning, what is functioning? In our deep sleep, capital I is functioning over there. So therefore, in 2 states small I was available. In one state, capital I was available. Is the small I available in the deep sleep? No, it is not available. But we can say capital I is not available in the waking and in the dream. Teacher will come to it in the next shloka. We will wait. Because if we say capital I is available only in the deep sleep state and it is not available in the waking and dream, then that also becomes unreal. But it is real. It is there in our waking and dream, but we are not aware of it. Because it's a capital I only which became small I. So even in our waking and dream state, though we don't recognize it, though we don't experience the capital I is there. Because small I is a reflection of capital I. If capital I was not there, small I would not have been there at all. Only when we are there, we see our reflection. So if the reflection is there, that means I am there. Small I is available in two states, waking, dream. But it is not available in the deep sleep. But what about capital I? Capital I is available in all the three states. The deep sleep, the dream and the waking. But predominantly, where can I connect with it? The teacher says you can connect with pure consciousness, Shuddha Bodha, in deep sleep. That doesn't mean deep sleep is equivalent to moksha or mukti. Because we can connect with it. Saying over here, it is illumining ignorance. So there is a factor called ignorance over there. So we have to move beyond ignorance also to connect with that or to experience it. Right now in deep sleep state, because we come back and say, I don't know. I don't know means I am ignorant. The pure consciousness, the state of pure consciousness is never a I do not know state. It can never be. It is a knowing principle. It knows what it knows and it also knows what it doesn't know. But over here, pure consciousness is illumining ignorance. Therefore, we cannot say deep sleep state is equal to the state of mukti. Why? Pure consciousness. I am now, in our deep sleep, we are identified with the pure consciousness. But it is aware of, it is illumining ignorance means it is aware of ignorance. The state of enlightenment or the state of mukti is to go beyond ignorance. It is not becoming aware of ignorance. We have to move beyond ignorance. So that is there over there. So many say, if pure consciousness is available in the deep sleep state, then all of us can go off to deep sleep. Why? In the deep sleep state, we are identified with the pure consciousness. So are we in that state of realization or enlightenment? No, we are not. Why? In the deep sleep state, though we are not doing our transaction or our vyavahara. Why? Because there is no small I, there is only capital I, but still capital I is illumining ignorance over there. We have to move beyond the ignorance. Even that has to be kept aside. It's also an equipment in us, upadhi in us. So just like we moved away from the gross equipment and the subtle equipment, we have to move away from the karana, sharira also. The causal equipment also has to be transcended. Right now, it's still there. But still, when we go off into deep sleep and come back to the waking state, what do we report? We always say, I slept well. In deep sleep, we are very happy. But we were in the state of ignorance. That's why I think they say ignorance is bliss, but knowledge also is bliss. Both of them are poles apart. Knowledge is bliss, is the highest, the state of realization. Ignorance is bliss, is deep sleep. This is Bhoga Nidra that we are going through every day. That is Yoga Nidra, which Lord Vishnu indicates over there. Pure consciousness just aware of itself. We can say pure consciousness is illumining itself. Pure consciousness illumining pure consciousness is the state of enlightenment or mukti. But in deep sleep, what is pure consciousness doing? It is illumining ignorance. So that also has to be pushed aside or put aside, or we have to transcend that also. So the most important thing that the teacher is trying to tell us in this fourth shloka is small I is not available in all the three states. So therefore he is saying, sit down and reflect on it. Do your manana. Is small I, which we are all familiar with, which we say I. Is it available in all the 3 states? If it's available in all your 3 states that you go through every day, then it will become real. But that is not the case. Small I is available in only 2 states, waking and dream. It's not available in the deep sleep state. Therefore, the teacher says small I is unreal. It is not real. It is there in 2 states, it's not there in the 3rd state. Again it comes back. Because from deep sleep we again go back to waking state. That which comes and goes is not permanent, it is temporary. We know that. Anything that comes and goes, we say it's not permanent at all. It's temporary. It has come now, it stays for some time, we do not know when it will go away. Therefore we say it's subject to change. So the small I, the bodhabhasa, or the reflected consciousness is unreal. It is temporary. It belongs to the realm of change. Why? It comes and goes. It is subject to change. Anything that is subject to change cannot be real. So the teacher is trying to put it into us what constitutes the small I, what constitutes the capital I. And he says when you are in deep sleep state, the 3rd state of ours, he says yes, at that point of time small I is not there, which was functioning in the waking and in the dream, because the reflecting medium was not there. But still the 3rd thin veil, the 3rd innermost sheath, innermost body we can say, called the Karana Sharira, or the causal body is still existing. And what is it made up of, or what is it comprised of? It is comprised of nothing but ignorance. What is ignorance? I do not know. And who is illumining it? Pure consciousness is illumining it. Pure consciousness is illumining I do not know. It can't be a state of enlightenment. It's a state of ignorance. So even that I do not know must go away. In our waking and dream, I do not know is also there, I know also is there. Do you know how to make this recipe? Yes. Do you know how to make this recipe? No. So I do not know also is there. I know also is there in both our waking and dream states. In the deep sleep state, it is only I do not know. But we have to go beyond all of them to reach out and experience the capital I, the Shuddha Bodha, or the pure consciousness. Right now in our deep sleep, yes, it is illumining ignorance. And therefore we come back and say, I do not know. I do not know is not a characteristic of pure consciousness. In pure consciousness, there is no I do not know. It only knows. That is why the word Sakshi was used for it. It will become more clear when we go into the next shloka. So this much the teacher has told us. So in the waking and in the dream state, small I is functioning. It is transacting. It is available. So for us, it seems to be real. But in the deep sleep, he says, note down, that's the most important thing. In the deep sleep, small I is not available. It means I am not available. I am not available, how can it be? Because I am there. Therefore, he says, small I, which is there for some time in 2 states, not there in another state, cannot be real, cannot be changeless. The changeless cannot be the permanent. And but I go through this deep sleep. Who is there over there? Pure consciousness is there. What is it doing? It's illumining for us ignorance. It's not illumining itself, but it is illumining because there is a medium in front of it. What is it? Karana Sharira is there. Ignorance is there. It's illumining ignorance. And therefore, when we come back from deep sleep state to waking, all of us say, I do not know. What that deep sleep state means. We know we entered into it, we know we have come out of it. What was your experience? I do not know. I do not know means ignorance. So therefore it's very important, therefore for reflection to happen, reflecting medium must be there. If there is no reflecting medium, no reflection will take place. So in deep sleep there is no reflecting medium available, therefore there is no reflection. So small I is not available, reflected consciousness not available. But it doesn't mean everything has ceased. Behind it is the pure consciousness, which itself had become the reflected consciousness. It illumines ignorance. Darkness cannot reflect anything. Dark, black doesn't reflect. We can't see ourselves in something dark, in black. So it just illumines it, that's all. It's because of this pure consciousness illumining ignorance or the Karana Sharira that the next part is also available for us. What is it? We come back to waking state again next morning. So therefore, this is what the teacher indicates to us in the 4th shloka. In the 5th shloka over here, now he is going, therefore a doubt can come to us. If small I was there, now we are very clear. Small I transacts in 2 states, waking and dream. Small I is not available, it is not present, it is absent in the deep sleep state. In the deep sleep state, what was present? Capital I was present. Shuddha Bodha, pure consciousness was present and it was illumining ignorance. But sir, is pure consciousness available in my waking and in my dream state? Is it there? Because you told us it should be available in all the 3 states. Only then we can say it is real. Only then we can say it's Sattvastu. It is the truth. Only then we can say it is the changeless eternal factor. Because it is available for us in all the 3 states. Now we know it is there in the deep sleep state. It illumines our ignorance. Now we can ask the teacher, is it available? Is it there? We may not experience, but that's a different factor. It may not be vivid to us. We may not be able to experience it. But is capital I also there in our waking and dream state? In our waking state, is it there? Can I, in my waking state, experience capital I? Because if it is there, I should be able to experience. Right now, we are not experiencing. That is different. But if I do something from my side, if I put in some effort, can I also experience capital I, which was there in the deep sleep, in the waking state also? Is the question for us. If we can experience that capital I in the waking also, then it will be available in all the 3 states. Dream also it will be available. So therefore the teacher says in the 5th shloka, Jagaret api diyastushni bhavaha shuddhena bhasyate di vyaparascha tat bhasyaha chidabhasena samyutaha. The teacher now comes back to the waking state. So he already told us pure consciousness, the Shuddha Bodha is the one which is available in the deep sleep state and it is illumining ignorance. Now we want to know, can that same pure consciousness, the Shuddha Bodha, be experienced in the waking state? The teacher says yes. If we can experience it, then we would have entered into the state of enlightenment. Mukti, moksha will happen to us. He says, Jagaret api. Even in the waking state, the teacher says over here. Even in the waking state, the means mind intellect. Mind we will take. Because we are more comfortable with saying mind. Mind is the reflecting medium. Mind is the one which is, from which thoughts, erupt in us. Mind creates the thoughts. So the inner equipment in us, the mind intellect equipment in us. He said, even in the waking state, this mind, tushnim bhavaha, when it can come into the tushni bhavaha. Bhavaha means attitude. It's a state. So the mind must come to a particular inner state in us. What is that inner state? It should come into tushnim bhavaha. Tushnim bhavaha means a still state in us. Absolute quietude in us. A state where there are no thoughts at all. That's the problem for us, very difficult. Because mind is thoughts for us and thoughts is the mind for us. But the teacher says, if you can get into that state where there are absolutely no thoughts, thoughtless state. Not the thoughtless that we say, oh, she's such a thoughtless person. It's not that. No thoughts. So no thought state means the thought that we were thinking is over, gone off to the past. The next thought is not coming to us from the future. Because thoughts come, one after the other, they come to us. From the future, they come, it becomes the present for us, and then it goes away into the past. So we have all our past thoughts, future thoughts will come, and then they'll become present thought. If we can create over there a little space, wherein the thought that we are just now thinking of, thought that is there in the present, goes off into the past. The next thought from future should come. If we can say, hold on, halt it, and say not now, arrest it, freeze it. So the next thought is not from the future, is not coming into the present. The present thought has gone off to the past. There will be a vacuum, it will be a small space has been created within us, wherein there are absolutely no thoughts. Even if it is for a fraction of a second, 1/1,000,000th of a second. That is called Tushni Bhava. Absolutely an inner climate wherein there are no thoughts at all. It's a still state. Why? Thoughts are like waves. In the ocean, waves rise. Slowly it gets created. Then it gets sustained, and slowly the wave dies down. Therefore, we see water disturbed over there. When we go and see an ocean, we can never see a still ocean at all. Because continuously the waves are rising up and going down, rising up and going down. Thoughts are like that. They come and they go, they come and they go. Different thoughts, different intensities, different quality, different quantity. From different directions they come. So our mind is like an ocean with all waves on top. So the teacher says, if all waves can be calmed, like pushed in, no more a wave must come up. How will the ocean look? It will look like a sheet over there. A glass sheet, a water sheet over there. Plain water sheet. It will look like as though there is a glass sheet over there. If we can make our mind like that, that is called as, technically it is called as Tushnim Bhavaha. So if we can, through our spiritual sadhana, completely free our mind of all thoughts, and get it into that state of stillness, that state of quietude, where there are no thoughts at all. Mind is thought flow. Where there are no thoughts, there is no mind. There is no mind at all over there. If we can do that and come to that state, the teacher says, Shuddhena Bhasyate. That whatever it is there in front of us, to explain it to us, he says mind. He says mind without thoughts. A mind where there are no thoughts at all, a still mind. If you can make that mind still mind, he says over there, that gets illumined by pure consciousness. To explain it to us. But a still mind, we must remember, a still mind is no mind. No thought is no mind, because mind is thought flow. Thought flow is mind. If we can completely reach a state where there are no thoughts at all in us, we would have transcended our mind. And when we have transcended the inner equipment, what is there available for us? What is just behind the equipment? Just behind the mind. What is just behind the mind? Capital I is there. So we are face to face with capital I, and we become the capital I. But to explain to us, because slowly, step by step, the teacher has to take us. He says, if you can create in your mind an environment or a climate where there are absolutely no thoughts, totally free of thought, that mind, Tushni Bhava Shuddhena Bhasyate. That pure Tushni Bhava, that mind, it's a state of the mind where there are no thoughts. That is illumined, he says. Bhasyate means illumined. Illumined by what? It will be illumined by pure consciousness only, is what he is saying over here. Which means, it's simple, in the waking state also capital I is there. So, the first point was waking state, dream state, small I is there. we are experiencing it. Though capital I is there, it doesn't seem to be available for us now. In the deep sleep state, the reflected consciousness, the small I is not there. Why? Reflecting medium, the mind, has been transcended. It's gone off to rest. Body, mind, intellect, all in rest. All are resting. No, absolutely no activities. Therefore, the only equipment available inside is the Karana Sharira, full of ignorance. And what is there just behind it? Capitalized there, pure consciousness. It's just silently illumining it. It's just illumining it. Then he comes back again to us and he says, can that same state be available in our waking state also? He says, yes. If you can make your mind devoid of all thoughts, means an ocean devoid of all waves, if you can get that mind into a no thought state, the teacher says over there, then he says, what will be illumining your mind without any thoughts is the pure consciousness. Which means pure consciousness is available for us, can be experienced by us in the waking state also. Though we are not experiencing it now. Why? Because we got identified with small I. So we can experience the pure consciousness in the waking state also. He said, provided we can bring the mind to halt. Mind to halt means make it completely devoid of all thoughts. If this much we have understood, then he takes us to the next stage. The last two lines of the 5th shloka, which we will take up in the next class.